Have you ever wondered how a random conversation on Reddit about brain fog could possibly connect to genetically engineered mice in a high-tech lab? It sounds a little out there, right? Well, today, that's exactly the trail we're going to follow, connecting those dots to uncover one of the brain's newest and most vital secrets. You know that feeling, right? You get a really solid night's sleep, you wake up, and your head just feels clear, like someone hit the reset button. But why? Why does that happen? For the longest time, science didn't really have a good answer, which is kind of wild when you think about how basic that experience is for all of us. But that's all changing. It turns out scientists have found a sort of hidden plumbing system inside the brain, and this one discovery is totally shaking up our understanding of everything, from how we form memories to how we might fight off devastating diseases like Alzheimer's. And this is where that Reddit thread comes in. As this user, the Slow Kid, points out, researchers figured out that all this waste product, this gunk, literally gets flushed out of the brain while we're asleep. It's like our brain has its own janitorial crew that only works the night shift. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What exactly is this secret plumbing, and why is it such a complete game changer? And I love this about online communities. Another user jumps in and says, hey, wait a minute, this thing actually has a name. And it does. This whole waste disposal network is officially called the Lymphatic system. So what is it? Okay, picture a network that basically piggybacks on your brain's blood vessels. A special fluid is pumped along the outside of arteries. It washes through your brain tissue, collecting all the toxic junk, and then it gets flushed out along the veins. It is literally a microscopic power washer for your brain. And what's so cool here is that you're seeing science happen in real time, right out in the open. You've got users going back and forth, debating the details. Is it in the brain's outer layers, or is it a system inside the brain tissue itself? These are the exact kinds of arguments and discussions that researchers have in labs all over the world. So why should you care about any of this? Well, the implications are just huge. And again, this was all being discussed right there on the forum. If this cleaning system isn't working right, could that be what causes the toxic plaques in Alzheimer's? Could it be behind chronic migraines, or even affect mental health conditions linked to not getting enough sleep? It's a really big deal. Okay, so to really wrap our heads around how a massive system like this can break down, we have to change our focus. We need to zoom in, way in. We're going from the big picture of the brain's plumbing all the way down to the tiny individual nuts and bolts at the molecular level. And to answer that question, we're going to have to make a pivot. We're leaving the Reddit thread behind and diving into the super detailed world of a PhD thesis. This is where the real hardcore scientific detective work begins. We're going to focus our magnifying glass on just one single thing, a protein. Now, it has a ridiculously complicated name, alpha-pix-rheg6, don't even worry about it, but what it does is absolutely critical. And what happens when it's not there? Well, that's where the story gets really fascinating. The easiest way to think about this protein is like a tiny construction manager for each of your brain cells. Its whole job is to manage the cell's internal scaffolding, the stuff that gives a neuron its shape. And that shape is everything. It's how neurons form connections and talk to each other. So it's no surprise that when this protein is faulty, it's linked to some pretty serious cognitive conditions. So how in the world do you study just one protein out of millions? Well, this is where the science gets incredibly cool. You have to see what the brain is like without it. And to do that, you have to enter the amazing world of genetic engineering. Right, so here's the challenge. You have this impossibly complex machine, the brain. How do you figure out what one tiny little part does? The answer, and it's a brilliant one, is a powerful research tool called the knockout mouse. So what they do is they find the specific gene that makes our protein and they break it. They just disable it. Then they put that broken gene into mouse stem cells, and through really careful breeding, they create a mouse that is completely missing that one functional protein. It's a meticulous process, but what you get at the end is amazing. A living model that shows you exactly what goes wrong when just one piece of the puzzle is missing. But hold on, how did they know it actually worked? You can't just assume, right? You need cold, hard proof. And in molecular biology, that proof is usually something you can see. You have to get a visual confirmation that the protein you tried to remove is really, truly gone. And here it is. This is called a Western blot, and it's basically a test that makes proteins visible. Check it out. On the left, for the normal mouse, you see those dark bands? That's our protein, present and accounted for. Now look to the right at the knockout mouse. Nothing. The lanes are totally empty. The protein is gone. The experiment was a success. Okay, so now that we know for sure the protein is missing, we can zoom back out. It's time to connect this one tiny molecular change to the bigger picture, to actual brain function and health. So what did they find? The results were pretty clear. They put these mice through a classic memory test where they have to find a hidden platform in a small pool of water. The mice without the protein, they really struggled. They had a much harder time forming a spatial memory of where that platform was. Just think about that for a second. That is a direct line from one missing microscopic protein all the way to a problem with a complex behavior like memory. It's just a profound connection. And just like that, we are right back where we started. That casual online comment from the Reddit user beginner underscore just saying, or Alzheimer's, well, suddenly it doesn't seem so random, does it? The speculation on the forum and the super specific lab work are both pointing to the same fundamental truth. And really, that's the bottom line here. If we want to understand the big, complex systems like the lymphatic brain cleaning network, we have to do the slow, hard, painstaking work of understanding the individual molecules and proteins that build the whole thing in the first place. Our brains have something like 86 billion neurons. Just imagine what other secrets are hidden away in its tiniest parts. This journey, from a public forum to a quiet lab, it just goes to show you that every big question is worth asking, and every tiny component is worth understanding. The next breakthrough could be sparked by a Reddit comment or found under a microscope.